Alright, much Abrew about nothing time. We're playing some Mono Blue Metallurgic Rise in Standard. And, oh, these lands. So, I say this every time. I'm going to fix them between rounds. And then that probably won't actually happen, and I'll forget. But it sounds good. Ugh, double Jace. Double Jace on the draw against Inventor's Apprentice is not where we want to be. So we're looking for like pieces of the puzzle. There's a copter. We're taking 2. We need to like pieces of the puzzle into engulf the shore, most likely. That's probably our best bet here. Scatter to the winds. Not exciting at the moment. So we're probably taking 5 here, and our opponent's going to loot. Oh, and bomb at courier. We're going to be close to dead even if we do find engulf the shore. It's still our best bet, but opponent gets in for 5, puts us down to 13, gets to loot. Yup. And Scrap Heap Scrounger. We draw Grip of the Royal. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, well, I think we gotta do it. Pieces of the puzzle. Well, there's Engulf the Shore and pieces of the puzzle. Whether or not this is enough, I am not sure. So we'll discard a Jace. So we're going to take a huge beating. If we were on the play, I would feel much more comfortable. So we're going to take a ton. Opponent gets to loot again. Discards a mountain. Hits us for 8, down to 5. Plays another copter. And a key to the city. Well, there's a scour. We have 3 card types. Land, Planeswalker, and Sorcery. Alright, so play an island. Pass the turn. I mean, this is really all we can do for now. Opponent goes to combat. Swings with everything. We engulf the shore. Bounce everything. There's the Scrounger. There's Courier. There's the Nerd Ape. Metallurgic Summonings, and I think this means we're dead-ish. Well, let's play the island, pass the turn, see what our opponent does. There could be some way that we could survive. Opponent goes to combat. Yeah, that means we're dead. Okay. Well, slow hand, fast draw for our opponent. What do we have that can fight against what our opponent's doing? I guess Thing in the Ice. And probably Filgrief Familiar, maybe. Go down Jace. Go down Negate. Go down the Scatter to the Winds. Go down the Crush of Tentacles. And I guess go down one more negate. Let's try it like this. Ay, 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 ay. Alright, we're on the play. Okay. I mean, this is reasonable-ish, especially on the play. So, Island, go. So, Metallurgic Summoning should be good, hopefully. Opponent has the Courier. Gonna get in for 1. Start exiling away their deck. We draw another Summonings. Well, if we can somehow get stable and play Summonings into spells, it's going to be pretty sweet. Foreboding Ruins. Tapped. Okay, that's good. Inventor's Apprentice. Opponent gets in for 1. Down to 18. We get a negate, so let's play the island, pass the turn. We do need 1 more land for Summonings in our next 2 draws. See what our opponent does. Plays a swamp. Transgress the mind. Alright, I guess we have to negate transgress. Not great, but we don't really want our opponent to take any of the things in our hand. Opponent exiles another card. We drop to 15. Opponent passes. There's part of the Water Veil. Well, let's see if we can get our Metallurgic Summonings down. See what our opponent does here. We might just tap down Inventor's Apprentice with Grip of the Royal. Incendiary flows our face down to 12. Well, let's Grip of the Royal Inventor's Apprentice. Hopefully draw land. Draw Rise from the Tides. Opponent gets in with Courier. Down to 11. There's a land. Alright, well. There's Metallurgic Summonings. See if this is fast enough. See what our opponent has left. One more land for Part the Water Veil would be very, very good. Opponent, 4 mana. Ooh, Chandra, okay. So Chandra's going to start pinging us down to 9. Down to 8 from the Courier. Well, we would love to draw a land here. Land would really make our day. Ooh, alright. So land into Part the Water Veil with Awaken. Get a 6/6. Untap. Then we kill Chandra. Play Thing in the Ice. Pass the turn, see what our opponent does. Incendiary flows our face down to 5. Goes to combat. Exiles a card. Alright. Well, let's block. Drop to 4. 4 is not that much different than 5, really. Untaps. We get an island. Let's play the island and pass the turn. Opponent goes to combat. Attacks with the Courier. Probably going to get a new hand. So we block. Opponent's going to sack it. Draw a million cards. Ugh. And they get to Madness? Jeez. Yeah, we're likely dead. Our opponent just has to draw any removal. Or any bird and we're dead. And they just drew 7. Plays a land. And passes. Well, let's Pieces of the Puzzle. Get a counter off Thing in the Ice. Get a token. Get Pieces of the Puzzle and Scour the Laboratory. Attack with our 6/6. Oh, down to 14. Pass the turn. Well, if we don't die here, which is probably unlikely. Alright, opponent gets back Scrap Heap Scrounger. It's mostly burn that we're concerned about. Opponent plays a land. Plays Pianalar. Makes a token. If they don't have burn, we're kind of in this game still. Another Scrounger. Okay. And a Courier. Sure. Opponent passes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's Scour the Laboratory. Get a counter off our Thing in the Ice. Part the Water Veil would be ideal here. Or 3 lands. Select for Inspection. We don't have enough mana to Pieces of the Puzzle into something. Alright, let's attack with all of our tokens. See what our opponent does. Blocks and blocks and blocks. Let's Pieces of the Puzzle. See if we can find a counter. We took most of them out. Anticipate Pieces of the Puzzle. Play an island. And pass the turn. See if we can keep staying alive. Discard an island. Still dead to a burn spell. Not dead to much else, though. Opponent has Transgressed the Mind. Okay. That doesn't beat us. Are we really going to survive this at 1 life? Takes Engulf the Shore, which doesn't matter because we can flip Thing in the Ice. 2 cards in our opponent's hand. Goes to combat. Attacks with everything. So let's just anticipate. Bounce everything. Get a 2/2. Get another Anticipate. Scrappy Scrounger for our opponent. Courier. Well, apparently they can't just kill us. Let's Anticipate again. Get another token. Basically looking for Part the Water Veil. And our opponent scoops it up. Wow! Okay. We were not going to find a Part the Water Veil either. I guess we had enough mana that we could have Pieces of the Puzzle and found one. So I think we were going to win there. Wow! Alright. Well, being on the play certainly helps. Okay. We got an Engulf the Shore, which is good. Foreboding Ruins for our opponent, tapped. There's a Scour. We've had Delirium with Scour more than I would have thought, which is good. Opponent plays a Mountain. And there's the Looter Scooter. Well, let's get our thing in the ice down. Pass the turn. I'm guessing our opponent's going to be able to loot here. Scrap Heap Scrounger, yep. And a Courier. Fires up Smuggler's Copter. Gets in, gets to loot. Also exiles a card with the Courier. Discards Pianalar. They must have multiples, I would guess. So let's block the Courier. Pass the turn. We get an island. Play the island. Pass the turn. See what our opponent can do. Plays a land. Fires up Smuggler's Copter. Tap down Smuggler's Copter. Get a counter off thing in the ice. Draw another land. We're going to block the Courier. If they kill our thing in the ice, that's annoying, but not the end of the world. We get Burn not going at our face. Pianalar for our opponent. We get another Grip of the Royal, which is actually pretty solid. So let's play the island, pass the turn. Our opponent doesn't get to activate Copter here. We might actually be able to flip our thing in the ice. Transgress the Mind. So let's anticipate. Get a counter off thing in the ice. Get an island. And then we can Surge to tap down Scrap Heap Scrounger. Get a counter off thing in the ice. Draw another Grip. Alright. I'm assuming our opponent just has, probably takes Engulf the Shore. The good news is we're one spell away from flipping thing in the ice. Takes Engulf the Shore. We do not have many card types yet. All instants. Opponent goes to combat. Swings with everything. I think we have to take it this time, unfortunately. Because now we don't want to risk our thing in the ice to Incendiary Flow. Alright, pumps up an artifact, so we take 5, down to 12. Well, let's play an island, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Courier, okay. Goes to combat. Attacks with everything. Let's select for inspection. Opponent madnesses a Fiery Temper. Alright, puts us down to 9. Draws a couple new cards. We flip thing in the ice. Bounce all of our opponent's stuff. Still only one card type in the graveyard. Opponent plays a Swamp. Plays a Courier. And passes. Ooh, that's Engulf the Shore, though. Well, let's get in with Awoken Horror. Opponent activates Smuggler's Copter. They're actually going to block here? Alright. Opponent blocks. And loots. Discards a land. So let's play land. And pass the turn. So we have a few options here. Let's see what our opponent does. Opponent's just going to get in for 1? Alright. Opponent gets in for 1 with Courier. That's fine. Down to 8. Plays a Scrounger. Plays Pianalar. But we're going to get to Scour here. Scour the Laboratory. Draws us 3. Alright, let's get in with our Awoken Horror. Opponent blocks with a token. I think we're going to beat this deck. Play Filigree Familiar. Go back up to 10. Pass the turn. There's a Fleetwheel Cruiser for our opponent, which is fine. It does not get around our Engulf the Shore. Opponent swings with everything. So let's Engulf the Shore. Bounce everything. We pick up our Filigree Familiar. So we get to recast it, gain more life. Does not bounce our Awoken Horror. 7 islands, 8 toughness. So Awoken Horror survives. Alright, opponent madnesses Fiery Temper. Gonna kill our familiar so we can't recast it. Okay, we draw an island. Bounce everything. Well, I think this gives us a window. Yeah, so let's play... maybe we just tap out here, actually. They do have Fleetwheel Cruiser, so let's anticipate... Get apart the Water Veil. Rise from the Tides, make some zombies... Past the turn, we're going to stay on defense with Awoken Horror so we don't lose to Fleet Wheel Cruiser plus, like, Unlicensed Disintegration. Scrounger. And if our opponent doesn't manage to kill us here, we should have the win next turn. And it looks like they're not going to be able to. Scrounger, Scrounger, PNLR. That's not going to do it. Combo kill, I believe, is incoming. And an Engulf the Shore. Well, part the Water Veil. We will awaken. Gets us an extra turn, and that should do it. Oh, taking down one of the best decks in the format, Red-Black Aggro. So, wow. Mono Blue Metallurgic Rise. Looking good so far.